Welcome, High Vibe humans. You are listening to the Golden Guy Adventure podcast. Hey, all you High Vibe humans, Breezy here, and welcome to the Golden Guy Adventure. Today's show is brought to you by the letter E for energy. I believe that energy is important to what we have been talking about here on the Golden Guy Adventure. We've been talking about action, balance, community, and the energy that we put into creating a community is so important, and how we gather that energy to take action when we choose to balance our energies. All of this is really important. So today we're going to talk about energy, and joining me is my friend, Angelina Bertoni. Angelina, why don't you introduce yourself to the High Vibe humans that are listening here and in the future?
Hey, everybody. I hope everyone's having an awesome day wherever you find yourself in this magnificent timeline. My name is Angelina Bertoni, and I work in the event planning industry kind of side of things. Something that I've been working on in the last year. And I run a couple of awesome projects here in Grand Rapids, Michigan, where I am currently based. My cat, Mercutio, you might hear the jingle of his bell. He's roaming around while we do this podcast. He has a tendency to follow me everywhere.
Your cat is so cute. He's white with orange spots
on his ears. He's my little lamb. I swear he'd follow me to school if he could. We go to the Martha's Vineyard. There's a market up at the corner of the street, and he always goes with me.
Oh, that is so cute. So you're from Grand Rapids, and what is your personal mission?
I'm trying to make the world a better place. I think that one of the tools of doing that is creating empowering activities and events that people can come to, because I think that those situations end up being catalysts for us to create self-change and make a better world.
Awesome. Are you excited to share your insight on today's topic?
I am. You know, the energy of 2018 has been insane for me. I've gotten to go on some really cool adventures, and I have some other cool things going on in the future coming up. So we'll see where it takes us, all of us, you know, together as a collective consciousness. And I'm excited to share that a little bit. So let's do it.
Thank you for joining me today, and thank you for tuning in, High Vibe humans, and living your highest vibration. So for me, the definition of energy, what I think about energy is not just ions and particles in the scientific sense, but also chi or prana, this life-giving energy, this thing that energizes our bodies. It's almost electric, right? So that's what I think about energy. Do you have like a personal definition, Angelina?
I honestly believe that it's something that it's innate within all of us. You know, whatever you choose to label it as, you know, whether it be chi or prana or your vibe or, you know, however you want to describe it, it's something that flows through each and every person. And I think finding that balance is also a pivotal part of being human, you know, and understanding what's within us. And that energy can be something that helps us, and it can also be something that hurts us. And we have to be aware of how we give and receive that energy too, because the ebb and flow of it in Tai Chi, you know, it's a really beautiful practice of watching the actual ebb and flow of energy and being able to see and feel a physical connection as you're moving through your body. And so I think that that's one of the, in Western and Eastern cultures alike, you know, we all have our own way of naming it. It's the same thing with religions, honestly, if you go on a bigger scale, which, you know, transcends all space and energy transcends space and time. That's for sure. And so like, it's something that just, it can help us in ways of creating blessings. And I think that it's powerful enough that we can manipulate it too.
Energy is like omnipotent, omniscient.
The potent omnipotent.
Yes.
It's the guy in the background narrating the entire situation. We have no idea what's going on.
So energy could be anything from this large thing that moves the universe that is omnipresent to something as personal as your auric field.
Totally. A lot of people, you know, when you get really angry, I assimilate it a lot when I talk with others about two tuning forks. You know, you vibrate naturally at one repetition and sound level. And when you're around somebody else, let's say they're having a really bad day, they're vibrating at a super high energy level. When they come over to you and they hit you, all of a sudden you walk away, and the exchange might have been a glance. It might have just been the teller at the bank, you know, and all you did was hand you the check. And what ends up happening is that you take that energy that they have a high level of the tuning fork, and you bring that out with you. And so being aware of how to cut off your energy level, how to put up that bubble, you know, to be able to protect it too is really important, because we're constantly giving it off. It's kind of like heat rising from a pavement.
So this energy, when we come in contact with other people, we influence each other's vibratory rate. And
Totally.
it could be positive or negative. So I guess that kind of begs the question, is there positive and negative energy in a good and bad sense?
Absolutely. I mean, take a look at me, for instance. Angelina Bertoni. If like, it's a cute little trick, but if you look at my name full out, Angel is in the very first half of my name. Oni is how we end the last half of my name. Oni in Japanese means demon. Angel, in the English sense, it has this, high positive vibe, a good blessing to it. But together they create, that dichotomy of light and bad. And I think that it can totally end up being something where we can manipulate it, where it can, if you give into too much of a sway of either side, you can change those around you. Just like we were just talking about picking up on a bad vibe, the energy that we, from our own auras. I mean, I have experience just reading auras, and the way hi baby, the way I attribute it a lot is that it's like heat rising off a pavement, and the level of that heat and how far it is away from the body really depends on how much energy you're asserting into yourself and into that action. So you can walk around and have a day where you are feeling so on top of life and you are just sucking in all that good energy, right? Like it's almost like being a vacuum and a vampire energetically at the same time, because you have no idea that you're walking around just zooming up, you're doing your thing, but you're sucking up all this positive energy from people around you, and people are feeling tired or being near you. People are like, oh, this is a lot. And you're just like, I don't understand. Everything's falling. Like, what do you mean? Our energy, though, it's just like that heat rising off a pavement. If the tendrils are really strong and we're vibrating at that huge level, your energy, obviously the tendrils are so big, it's kind of like the sun. It can go over to the person next to you and connect on it. Now, right now, if we're sitting next to each other, we're both feeling the same vibe.
We're shining bright.
We're shining bright.
We're high vibe humans.
We're excited. We're a little anxious. There's a little bit of, it's fun to make a podcast. It's nervous to put yourself out in front of the world, but the vibes are the same, and we're just balancing. And so there's an ebb and flow of us being ourselves versus us freaking out and having to, pull from each other. And I think that when we're in situations of high anxiety and stress, especially when we're frightened, humans tend to pull from each other too, really strong. Our vibrational energy field and auric field ends up coming out, extending 2 to 3 feet away from the body, and you can feel it, across the room. Right. People naturally, everyone has this ability to be able to see it. Oh, you want to stick your foot in my coffee? Kitty cat? That's nice. I love cat coffee.
This idea that positive and negative energy can be good or bad, but also in the sense that the negative energy can help you understand darker parts of yourself. Accepting that darker part of yourself is a good thing, even though it's a negative thing that's happening. And so, for instance, if somebody is depressed or having a bad day, that's okay. If they're feeling angry, that's okay. And having that energy is okay. It becomes bad in the sense that when you start throwing your energy at people or taking someone's energy in order to make yourself feel better.
Louder for the people in the back.
Right. So that, the bad parts of yourself, what you assume is bad or negative, is actually something that might teach you something and can be seen as good. It becomes bad when you lash out at other people.
Completely. I think as a human, we have every right and the privilege to experience every single emotion that we feel each time, every day, always. The problem with this is that when we feel too entitled or we allow ourselves to become too consumed with the emotion, it becomes toxic for us. And so there has to be a fine line of understanding of when you're feeling and working through an emotion and being able to release it, and feeling and working through an emotion and holding it on and holding on to the bitterness. And this can come in the form of a breakup. Breakup, love, when you fall in love with somebody, it's a beautiful thing. One would say it's almost like a blessing. It comes in the form of joy. There's so much connectivity. And when we break up, you can take that in one of two ways. Some people, we break up and, it's hurt. I'm feeling emotions. I'm sad. I'm feeling a little angry towards my partner. It wasn't fair. There's some unjust here. I let it go. I move on with my life.
Right.
Then you can take that to an extra negative way, though, and say, well, you know what? I can't let go of my partner. Like, this isn't okay for me. I'm going to follow them around and bombard their next relationship. I'm going to make sure that they're not happy. I'm going to,
it's like vengeance and revenge.
Yeah. And when you get consumed by those emotions, that's especially,
it takes a lot of energy.
It does. And it's something that but not only does it take energy, it's addictive. We as humans have a problem. It stimulates so many neurotransmitters within our brain when we feel these high intense emotions. We become drama queens. We become addicted to it because it's delicious. And even though we are acting about how it's just the worst thing in the world and we can complain about it, honestly, it's something that we bring upon ourselves. And so when you're to be aware of when I'm being a drama queen personally.
Right.
When I realize, okay, Angelina is way out of her league right now because I am taking things to an extreme.
The power
I'm
of
holding
honesty.
on to it. Yeah. A breakup I went through a couple of years ago really showed me that, what it means to cling versus to let go.
Mm-hmm.
And when you let go, there's a lot more peace involved, and it hurts. No, there's not to say when we let go of things that things can't resurface, because when we let go, we don't truly let go.
Right.
We all say, we let go, I did it, but the universe has a tendency to drag us, and it loves to, because we're stubborn humans.
Lessons.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's really important to talk about all this, and you bring up a lot of good points, especially with how others influence us and how breakups influence us and how, that energy overall influences us. It's important to talk about, because the more you know about what influences you and how you influence other people, the more control you can have over it. And so that's so important that you're speaking to this issue of becoming aware of yourself and just knowing how your energy influences others and how you can also transmute your energy. Because the more control one has over our experience, the more positive we can work towards healing the planet and using our energy to be a healing individual.
Totally. In the past, every person makes mistakes. I mean, you and I, we've been friends for 7 years now.
7 years.
Yeah. Once upon a time in 2013, we went to summer camp. And a great example of what we're just talking about was in the beginning of our trip. Boy, yeah, there was many great examples of energy being thrown around in unhealthy ways. But one of the times was in the very beginning of the trip. I got into the car, and I was totally in the wrong. I stepped into the car with a really bad attitude. I had gotten into a fight with my partner, and we started off the trip with me being the angriest person in the car. And what that ended up being was that I was a person that held the wand or the baton of control, because everybody else now couldn't be happy. We couldn't really listen or smile. There was this
we were
air.
Focused on trying
the
to make
elephant
you happy.
in the car exactly is trying to make the person who's unhappy happy without talking to them and energetically shifting it. And until I finally just let it go, which the power of happiness,
right? The power of a festival.
Yeah, it helps relinquish that that need for control. But when you hold on to those negative powers, I think that we have a tendency to forget how powerful we are. Because really, when you're the angriest man in the room, it's not that you are the most powerful, because for sure you are the person that's hurting the most. But we as empathic and caring humans, because all of us hold these traits within ourselves, we all sense when someone's having a bad day or somebody's in that bad mood, and we all want to help, because no one wants to see another person suffer.
No.
And so this is where that person that they don't have, so I guess I'm wrong in saying that they have the most control, but they do have the highest energetic imprint in the room.
Right, and they
they
also have control over how they're feeling. People don't make you feel something; you react to what they say, and understanding how that reaction really affects you and where that trigger comes from is the control. It might feel like you have no control, but that's usually because you don't understand where the reaction is coming from. So let's talk about the concept of transmuting energy, of this idea of when you finally understand how something affects you and you're able to transmute it or transcend this energy.
Yeah, so something that I've been working on this year that I feel so grateful that has come into my practice is keeping a manifestation journal. And, I was raised a pretty devout Catholic Christian, and one thing we do, is we pray all the time, before we wake up in the morning, before we go to bed, over our dinner, and church on Sunday and church on Monday. We pray. And what I realized is all that praying when I was younger is actively manifesting, just in the thought of continual and the thought process form. When we write down our prayers and we put them into words, we're putting it in the physical form, and it creates a lot more. The cat has just gone and curled up on Brianna's lap, and it's adorable. If you're a cat person, you understand, and if you're a dog person, you're probably like, It's all right, though. Moving on. So one of the ways I think to really work on it is this year having that manifestation journal. I have put down and asked for not the wishes, but what will come to me, asking for my wants and my needs that will come to me for my highest good. And if it's meant to be, it's going to be. And, you're only going to be placed wherever you are on this planet, because that's the reason, for a reason. And I think that the universe puts us there for the reasons that we can grow. And when we grow in the best ways, it helps the people around us. And so sometimes, even though someone's growth may look like a lot of pain or negative energy, it's also helping you, though, grow as a person. going back to the summer camp issue, when I was throwing a tantrum in the car, being all angry, you grew as a person because you didn't collapse and start yelling at me or pick up on that bad energy, even though it was in such a close proximity to you. You let it go and you waited and was patient and let me get through that energy. And when I was finally able to let it go, there was that huge sigh in the car because the other 3 other people we rode with were all like, thank God. And it's so childlike, but that's also part of, the traumas from our inner child when we have to work on healing ourselves. And when I was 21, there was so much of my inner child that I thought all of a sudden I was a big girl and I was a grown up and I could handle everything. And so much of my inner child wasn't dealt with at that point in time. And I mean, I'm 26, like not too much has changed. I'm a bigger girl. I can handle some more things. But I think that, the biggest thing about it is learning that what we give out there and how we can bring it back in that moment in the car too. And the reason I brought it up is because I remember being the person I remember feeling like, wow, I'm ruining everyone's day. In that moment when we were riding the car, I'm riding there and I was angry and I was angry and I was angry. And all of a sudden I realized, like, I can choose to turn this around. I can choose to put a smile on my face, to say, okay, to laugh a little laugh and say, okay, guys, I'm really sorry. That was like really sucky. And I was trying so hard not to swear.
Right, yeah.
But
that was so important to my lessons, to learning how to transmute energy and being able to hold a space. Because you don't want to fix something right away. You want to let that person feel. I wanted to let you feel all that anger, but also hold that space and allow you to come back, always like slightly encouraging, it's okay, feel it, but come back.
Yeah.
Come back to the positive side eventually, feel it and come back.
And come back to the present. And so tying everything in together in that present moment, this is how we manifest things. Mm-hmm. This is where the journal comes into play. Is to me, it's almost like it's a spell book where I write down my intention, my highest good. I act as if it's a present tense moment when I write in my manifestation journal, because when you want something in the future, it's best I wish I could have it, and wishing for things is awesome, but wishes come to us when they are going to help the divine of yourself and the universe around you. And so the universe doesn't have to be bigger than just like your arm span, but if it's going to help me, you and the cat, it's going to come true right now, if we really need it to happen. And that, I think, is like the beauty of manifesting, is if you can understand that it's not for a selfish gain or for a personal reason, but instead to help as many people as possible, to help the bigger picture, it's going to come to us. It's going to come rather rapidly.
Speaking of manifestation, you have worked very, very hard. You said that your field is event planning, event coordinating, and you've been working really hard in Grand Rapids, putting together several workshops. So you want to talk a little bit about the energy it takes to manifest and create a festival.
Oh, yeah. All right. So, the biggest thing that I've been working on, I do a few events around Grand Rapids throughout the year. We hold, it's called The Spectacle, and it is a free open source to art music event showcase for the community to come to. We usually have a few bands play. There's people selling all their goods and wares made around the community. We have activities for children to play with. And that event was put on by a community organization called GRASS. That stands for Grand Rapids Autonomous Support System. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, or our website, grass.com, which is really cool. So that's a thing. And GRASS is really cool. It's a collective of humans here in greater Grand Rapids area that get together every Tuesday, Wednesday-ish. And we come together and we just put on community events. We have potlucks. We help people around town. We clean up parks. We go out and clean up Lake Michigan. We try to be active within our communities. We grow food. We have medicine retreats. We have workshops. That where we wanted to have a day where we sponsored that event. So we put on together The Spectacle. And from that, The Spectacle was this day festival, event where it was just an evening of all of us coming together and sharing our talents and really getting to thrive in it. Now, the other two people that are really big, actually, there's so many people I can think of who are huge, pivotal team players in the GRASS community, and I'm so grateful to be friends with them.
Yeah, there's a large group, and we have to honor them all, so be sure to check out the Facebook page and check out all the activities that they're involved in, and there's so many. I want you to talk a little bit about, I'm really excited about it. Sweetgrass and Sagefern.
So because of all this, I guess it was kind of my backstory leading into it, was that because of the spectacles, they were such a big success that we decided, after going through and putting on numerous workshops and bringing them around Grand Rapids, Detroit, down south, just across the country, we did a festival tour in 2016. We loved it. It was really successful. 3 of my friends and I, Alex Beecroft, Tony Jaron, and Hunter Smith, we all went, shared our workshop, shared our music, shared our knowledge of community with multiple festivals, had such a great success at the end of the summer. The thought was thrown out there, why don't we put on a festival? Why doesn't grass do it? Our community here in Grand Rapids can support it. One person putting on a festival,
that's a lot of energy to take on.
4 of us getting down the first time, sitting around and working on it. 5 of us stepped up to the table actually in the end last year, and we decided that, yeah, we're going to do it. We're going to make that idea turn into reality. And Leanna Wendy came into the picture, Brett Kane came into the picture, Jesse Slater came into the picture, and these big pivotal players, they came in and they have just poured their hearts and souls into this project. And so Sweetgrass and Sageburn is a donation-based festival that is happening 20 minutes outside of Grand Rapids and at Shag Park Farms in Caledonia, Michigan. And it's going to be August 23rd to the 26th. This will be the second year of our festival, and it's incredible because it is an event that just speaks to my heart, and I hope it'll speak to yours too. It just brings together our soul family. We have workshops for parents and children alike. We have music that is conscious, that is friendly. We have a community where the food is organic. It all comes from our local farms. And we have a system where people trade, we barter. We have an agora where you have an open source art event showcase where you can bring anything that you make and you can sell, trade it, and have it there and have it up for it. This isn't your regular festival. This isn't a festival where people are walking around intoxicated. This isn't a festival where people are raging so hard that it's uncomfortable to see. This isn't a festival where people feel excluded. This is a place for families, for ourselves to have a transformative experience and let that experience be the catalyst to help bring in this next world.
Yeah,
we're trying to empower the children with it. And that's one of our biggest things is transforming the self, transforming the community, and empowering the next generation. That's what we stand for. And so, when you look at yourself, we have to all grow. And so I think that no matter what age you find yourself at, 16 to 75, 26,
you're still a teacher and a student.
Yeah, exactly. We're always going to be growing. And the beautiful thing about that is that it helps us expand ourselves. And by learning that, okay, as soon as I overthink that I know everything and I'm the best, I get humbled. Woo! Sit down, get humbled. Because the universe, as it strokes my hair, it's like, no way are you ever going to be on top, but you're going to learn. And if you do it right and you put your heart into it and it's going to benefit other people, good things are going to come. And it's amazing to see how last year our festival of 250 people has grown into this year. We have 1,000 people that are interested on the Facebook page, just looking at the event. We have people that might be coming from all across the world. There's a couple of events. So because of this, can I talk about the other things I do?
Yeah, yes, please. Because you were talking about manifestation and the energy it takes to put on a festival. So please talk about
the festival. Sweetgrass and Sageburn. Another awesome thing about the donation-based aspect is the manifestation behind it and the fact that we believe that our community will come through. We believe that the universe will provide for this project. We believe that the universe will provide for us as a tribe. We believe that the universe is here because allowing this to happen, because this is what's going to be the best for all of us together. And so with the sliding scale of donation, it comfortably fits within anyone's budget to attend this festival. You can come for $1. You can come we suggest 42 to 111 as a sliding scale. If you can, afford anything on there, what ends up happening with the bigger donations is that you're paying for even more. You're paying for other people who couldn't afford to come to the festival to be able to come to the festival. You're paying for the music and the lights. We don't have a budget. We don't have a sponsor that was like, here's a bunch of money, put together an event. We came together as 5 friends who said, you know what, it'd be really awesome if we can make a transformative experience for our community and have it be a weekend where we want to camp together, where we want to have, that feeling and that camaraderie. And so when it came to be, we danced, we sang, there was jam circles, there was fire spinners, like I said, there's workshops, there's just parades, like there's so much going on. And it's so beautiful to see how it's all given freely, donated by the community, by the people that put on the event for this event, because we want to show that this world, yes, we need money to survive and, pay our bills at the end of the day. We're not going to just break down the situation that's before us, but we can come at it with a little bit of an anarchistic sense, where if we can create tribe within our communities, if we can create these connections amongst ourselves and take the power away from the big banks, take the power away from all these industries that have literally been using their foot to keep us down as the middle class, to keep us down as regular Joes, and to tell us that we can't do it, to not misbite into it. I think that we can learn that there's more scans. there's more talents within our community. We have a grass logbook of everyone with their talents. We have mechanics. We have babysitters.
Well,
we
I
have
think
carpenters.
it's really important to remember that the community is required to participate in the festival. You're not just a passive attendee of Sweetgrass and Sageburn. If you donate below the donation scale, you're asked to volunteer and participate in the festival. So it's really important. I think the piece that you're touching on is that, you know, everyone has a part to contribute to the community, and it's important to remind each other that we're not just paying someone for a service, and if that person doesn't want to do that service for us, they can be replaced. No, we're actually building a connection to the person that provides the service, and they're building a connection with us.
Totally. I mean,
and that energy is irreplaceable because it's the energy of exchange.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Totally. I mean, even if you donate for $1 and you only feel that you can physically give maybe 10, 15 minutes of your time, that's okay. There's no limit of how much you can give. If you want to donate $100, and we ask everybody, you know, to sign up for shifts and volunteer for whatever interests them. If you want to learn about music, then you can volunteer and work stage side. If you want to learn about helping out in the kitchen, you can learn from some amazing chefs, some awesome raw vegetable recipes. Mm-hmm. You know, there's so many opportunities to give and help. And if your time is only limited, your money is limited, let that not be a reason not to participate. You know what I mean? Like, if you're choosing not to participate because in your heart you feel that's just not the jam, then that's okay too. Mm-hmm. You know, everybody serves their place and has a beautiful divine purpose for it. And I think that that's something that's so cool about this experience, is when we all come together and we see how the community can shine, you know, consciously. Mm-hmm. My heart just sparkles. Mm-hmm. Our hearts all sparkle together, I think.
Yeah, that energy is irreplaceable. It's the energy of community. And so we're talking about energy here, high vibe humans, and I think it's really important that you chime in too. So wherever you're listening to this, be sure to comment in the comments or share this podcast with someone that you think would be impacted by this, because the energy that we're creating of action and of personal balance and personal transmutation, and then creating communities, it's super important that we tune in and we get to know our energy and our personal energies. And Angelina works with several energies, as you can tell. She works to balance her own energies, as well as creating communities and using that energy to inspire others to create communities. But she also works with the fairy energies.
Oh, yeah. So one of the things that I also really love is the energy of the planet and of nature itself. And something that I think comes along with it is the aspect of magic. And ever since I was little, I've always believed in fairies. I grew up in a forest, and going outside and playing with my feet barefoot in the moss, you know, with every step that I took, I always felt that there was more out there. And, you know, we can go outside and we can feel, or we can go outside and we can put our feet down and we can just tune in and actually like really connect. And each person, you know, if we want to believe in it and open ourselves up to it, that we can make magic happen in our real life. And I think that's also, you know, fairy magic ties into the manifestation magic. If it's going to be great, if you know the energy that's out there, putting together, you know, knowing like the team that you work with, for instance, with Sweetgrass, every person that donates their time, their energy into the project, all the people for this year's project that have come together, you know, our e-board is huge. There's tons of people that are working on this festival to make it to be what it's going to be. And that energy is like, by working together and being positive with it and using it towards a focused goal, it can become something really, really powerful. The same thing with fairy energy. If you use light energy and you use that magic and use that belief towards a focused goal, whether you're praying or trying to manifest something, you know, it will come to be. And if you allow yourself to see it and you put yourself in the position of being open, this is where miracles, this is where magic happens. You know, this is that fine line between our sense of self, our id, and then our sense of ego, which is like bigger than that. And then there's that sense, that magic area, that little limbo, you could say, you know, where mystical things can happen. They say that fairies were born out of the first baby's laughter. The laughter bounced across the room, broke into 1,000 pieces, and each piece turned into a beautiful, sparkling little fairy. Aww. They flew out the window and into the world, and as each baby laughed, every time more fairies were born.
Wow.
Yeah, that's comes from Peter Pan, one of the very first stories written in the 1800s about fairies. And what I loved about that when I heard it when I was a kid is how beautiful, and a sense of joy and a moment of energy, as we've been talking about, when energy is expelled and exerted in a positive way, amazing, magical things can happen.
Yeah, amen to that, sister. Well, thank you so much for sharing all that knowledge about fairies And the energy in the room changed. I don't know if you could hear it in her voice, but definitely her energy changed as well as we were talking about the fairies.
We should have started with the fairies.
I know. The fairies are the best. You can't see it, but in front of me, I have 3 houses that are covered in moss. They're little tiny fairy houses that Angelina has created herself. They are so adorable. Would you like to talk about them a little bit?
Sure. So speaking of fairy energy, one of the projects that I started about 5 years ago is called the Book Fairy. The Book Fairy collects and redistributes used children's books all across the United States. I dress up like a big fairy. I go to schools. I go to farmers markets. I go to festivals and put down a blanket and I put out a bunch of kids' books and I say, hey, they're free. Come and pick them up. From that, people were so into it. I have given away over 3,000 books in the last 5 years. It's insane. I've read so many children's stories. And that's also where this passion comes from, is seeing how many people have happy thoughts when I read. Every kid's book is a happy thought. And every time I hear one of what someone's soul is trying to give to the world, I have faith that even if everything in the world starts to burn and goes to crap, we're going to be okay. There is a positive side of humanity that has an altruistic hope that will shine through.
Talking about that negative and positive energy.
Yeah.
We need both sides.
It is. It balances each other out. And so even though right now things, especially, with everything going on in our government, with everything that's going on, and even it seems like with the moons and our social lives and everyone's friend lives, things can get really hectic and crazy, but we have to turn our back and we have to allow ourselves, when we feel that things are hectic and crazy, to feel that emotion, to recognize that emotion, that there is chaos. It is okay. It is a natural human emotion to feel chaos. And I think that our society tells us that it's not right. If things are chaotic, then you should be freaking out. No, you should breathe into it. You should put your feet down and say, okay, why am I here? Why is this happening? And if it doesn't make sense to you, that's okay. Just be aware of it and then move forward. You know what I mean? Flow past it. Fairy energy is a lot like that. You have to be aware that it's there. And you have to flow with it. And as you move around your life, the fairy energy comes and the fairies are with you constantly. The fairy houses that I have made are found out of different forms of mosses, bark from various different types of trees. I have fallen mushrooms all decked out on these houses, and I sell them online. I make necklaces, figurines, these fairy houses. All that money that's generated from that goes to sponsoring the Book Fairy so that I can tour and give more books away in the summertime. And so these crafts that I make in the wintertime, I find of natural scraps outside and I bring them all in and I sew them up. And for those watching on the behind the scenes cam, these are what we're talking about.
We've got some natural talent over here with Angelina working with her fairy energy. And I thought that, I normally work with angel energy, but the angels are very close to the fairies. The fairies are connected to the earth realm, where the angels are connected to if you want to go to the universal realm.
Yeah.
And to the galactic realm, if you will, even. So I thought it would be really fun if Angelina did our card reading for today, for today's episode. And so, Angelina, I will hand the show over to you. And then after the angel card reading, we'll connect the cards to what we've been talking about.
Fantastic. So they say every time a bell rings, an angel gets her wings. I like to do the same thing every time I open up my fairy deck. I have a pair of Tibetan prayer bells, a set of Tibetan prayer bells, and so I give them a little. Whenever I go into a space for the first time that I'm about to live in, I think it's worthy of mention that I always begin by cleansing the space with sound. I use this set of bells, and I'll chime it throughout all 4 corners of the room or the house that I'm going to move into. Then I'll go back with sage, and I'll smudge the entire space. And then finally, I'll go back a 3rd time with sweetgrass. Sage cleanses out negative spirits. Sweetgrass welcomes in positive ones. Sound is a frequency that vibrates on all levels. And I truly believe that sound is a way that we can tap into the ethereal realms, whether it's through leprechauns, fairies, angels, or other. This is something that helps us all be able to connect in a space. And so when you listen to that sound, if you hear that twinkle, I think that it's a space for you to be able to breathe into something deeper. So for today, I'm feeling 1 card from the fairies. I think that it'll be what it's supposed to be.
Let's see what they have to say.
Ooh! Letting go. The card depicts a fairy who's doing a backbend. Her hand is up in the air. The moon is coming down over 2 glaciers in the background, and out of her hand shoots an electric tendril of energy in multiple directions. Letting go is such an important reminder in the fairy realm because, as we discussed with energy earlier in the day, this is something that can cause blockages within ourselves. If we don't allow ourselves to let go and move forward, just like a stream, we're just going to stay in one place stagnant and that water turns into a puddle. If we're able to release and move forward, we can transmute any kind of negativity that comes within ourselves and for other people.
Letting go is such a beautiful way to phrase this energy. Talking about vengeance or revenge, when we hold that energy within ourselves, it takes a lot out of us. And the process of forgiveness, I think I've talked about forgiveness before, it is an act of letting go. This process of forgiveness isn't condoning negative behavior. It's simply opening up that space within you, yourself, to move on and also maintain your energy for you and help you move forward instead of giving your power constantly to this person that you're trying to enact revenge on. Letting go is such a powerful act of opening up yourself to renewing your energy.
It's a space where you're able to find forgiveness. And with forgiveness, we can finally put to rest things that hold us back, any kind of blockages that we're unable to work through. This is a time where you can tap into your true self, where you can tap into that modality of compassion, to tap into where the pain sits. Really breathe deep and feel into yourself. Feel into where that little tick comes up, where that little thing of that argument against it, where this is right. Well, I should have, the ego is going to fight you, guys, tooth and nail on everything, every time. It's going to want you to be the best person to come out on top because in the hero of your story, that's where you always deserve to be. But remember, we are still learning lessons. And so we're not always going to be the best guy around. When we let go and we flow, we're able to put our energy towards a better, greater picture, which is you being the next person in your chapter that you were meant to be so that you can bring the world into the best version that this world can be. When we work on bettering ourselves and truly healing ourselves, we're going to find a divine sense of peace of mind and a miracle healing for ourselves and our planet. If we can work on ourselves, we can give gifts that we have, because you can't give a gift that you don't have. If we can work on healing ourselves and letting go, you can work on being conscious and present with every moment that's in front of you. Instead of holding on to the past, which brings so much pain, or the future, which brings us so much anxiety, instead staying present by letting go, you're tapping into your inner power. And that moment of being completely present, this is where your manifestations come from. This is where your moments of energetic electricity shoots out your hands and you can create. You will what you want.
That's so powerful. I will be better. I will raise my vibration. I will let go of this and become my higher self.
I will heal. I will learn. I will continue to grow.
And that is how you can shift your energy in just a simple, small way, is by making an I will statement and an I am statement.
I am healing. I am growing. I am learning. I am trying my best. These are simple statements that I like to say to myself when I wake up in the morning. I will try my best today. I will make someone smile today. I will help the planet today. I will pick up some trash today. Little tiny things, little promises. But when we are accountable for our word, our actions have a new sense of flavor to them. They hold a new power that we didn't hold the day before. When we're accountable for our word, then we're able to let go and transcend the negativity that holds us down. The world is never going to be just sunshine and rainbows. Instagram is a beautiful example of the world looking positively perfect all the time, of us having our best self out there, having the perfect light, having the perfect smile, having 10,000 likes on a picture. But what we are presenting isn't really what's going on.
It's our best possible self that we hope we can be.
We can take a picture of what it looks like from the perspective of right in front of us and have this awesome background. My desk was neat, and you could take a picture of the whole room and see how my vacuum was in the corner. I was sweeping out the room before this all started. There's the reality, the behind the scenes reality of life isn't perfect. It is filled with flaws. It is filled with negative emotions. It is filled with farts, for goodness sake.
Everybody farts.
It's a world that it has its flaws, but those flaws are parts of our lesson. We rarely learn from our success. And so I think that that's something that's really important in the process of working with energy, in the process of letting go, is to not hold yourself in the space of, well, you could have done better. Well, I could have done so many. Like, I could have,
would have.
Yeah. When we hold on to that space, well, man, I'm not going to go anywhere because I'm stuck in the past and I'm not being fully present. And in finding and with energy, I just think to tie everything together, when we're fully present, we are peaceful. When we are fully present, we are love. When we are fully present, we are magic. When we are fully present, we are literally the healers and the tribe and the warriors that we can possibly be, the best versions of ourselves. When we are not fully present, this is where we have our ties, where our pain comes into play.
When
where
our energy's all over the place.
Our judgments come into play. Our energy, exactly, it flows. When you are being fully present in this moment, you have the most power.
And especially if, you become unbalanced and you know how to put yourself back in balance, that is power.
If you feel unbalanced, the one thing that you will always have control over is your breath.
Collective breath.
If you feel out of balance, take a few deep breaths. Find the present moment. Understand that there is no immediate harm around you. And if there is, move out of the way. Other than that, though, be present and be peaceful. Because we are all kind-hearted, warm, smart warriors that are here for a divine reason. The fairies want us to know that. The angels want us to know that. Homeboys, homegirls, I want you to know that.
Well, thank you so much. We talked about a lot today, and we talked about the flow of energy, our definition of energy. We've talked about your experiences on putting on a festival, your experiences traveling, and what energy really, this positive and negative flow of energy, and this how we balance it out within ourselves. We've been talking about all of these topics, and I really want to thank you for sharing your story.
Oh, thanks for listening. I really appreciate it. It's been really fun to talk about some stuff with you guys.
It's great to connect with other high vibe humans like yourself, Angelina. So be sure to connect with Angelina. Plug your social medias.
Oh, man. All right. Well, we can link up on Instagram at Angelina Fofina. Same thing on Snapchat. I'm on Facebook as Angelina Bertoni. You can find our organization, GRASS, Grand Rapids Autonomous Support System, on Facebook. You can find our festival, Sweetgrass and Sageburn, online on Facebook. And we have a group page. We have an event page. We also have a web page, www.sgsbfestival.com. If you want to link up with me, I'll be working movement in Detroit in the end of May. I'll be at Music on the Mothership in New Mexico. I'll be at Lakes of Fire, both weekends of Electric Forest, Arise, Shambhala, Sweetgrass, and Sageburn, of course, August 23rd to the 26th. And I'll be finishing out the festival season with Resonance in October, and September, and Halloween in October.
You are a busy high vibe human.
Girl, speaking of manifestation, the coolest thing about working Sweetgrass and working with such an amazing team of people was being able to have this experience. We took an idea and we decided to say, hey, you know what, let's make it happen and let's do it. And from that, I ended up having this awesome experience. It was hard. It's hard work. You know what I mean? Like, it's everybody working together, everybody having a significant goal and working, striding towards it. But having that experience under my belt, I was able to put it on a production resume. And from there, I applied and I was able to score a job in Costa Rica back in February at Envision. I went down there and was the workshop intern coordinator this year. And it was incredible. It was awesome working with such a huge festival with so many transformative people from all over the world. And through that, I ended up getting a job out in California a few weeks ago. I was in Santa Barbara for Lucidity. I loved it. And through these jobs, I've been able to work more in the production world. And this is where this summer schedule is coming from, is it's manifesting and putting that good energy of how we can transcribe the situations that have happened to us in the past, but in a positive way of not holding on to negativity, moving forward, being completely present and just making a statement of, I want to make this happen. I want to learn about these experiences. I want to have these experiences. I want to learn about these events so that I can make magic happen. And with that statement, an entire list of
awesome
opportunities has popped up. And so if any of those opportunities sound interesting and you'd like to learn more about any of those festivals, feel free to contact me and I can send you all the information.
I decided to interview you, Angelina, because you are the definition of a golden guy, and you're someone with this golden, creative life force energy, traveling the world, raising the vibrations of our planet. And so that's what the Golden Guy and Adventure podcast is all about, interviewing these high vibe humans, spreading a high vibe message, and helping our community grow and connect. And also bringing in some of that real world stuff, talking about the things that challenge us as well as our successes, because our failures teach us way more than our successes, like you said, Angelina.
True.
So thank you for tuning in. Be sure to check out my website, goldenguyan.com, for more events and also sessions. I'll be teaching a workshop at Sweetgrass and Sageburn, so be sure to tune into my blog page for more updates on that.
Be sure to donate and join us this August and come.
Yeah, I was going to say, come and meet us and hang out and join the High Vibe Human community up here in Michigan.
I just want to say a quick thank you to Project Bring Me to Life for having me on today. I'm so grateful to be here. A huge thank you to Breezy for interviewing me. Oh. It's so wonderful to spend some time with you in Grand Rapids today.
Oh, it's a pleasure to have you.
Yeah, and a huge shout out to Mountain Shine Collective for hosting the radio station and having an amazing collective of arts and goods available for the good people of the mountain town. Mm-hmm. So thank you guys so much. And thanks to my cat for sticking around the entire time we did this interview, because he could have left. I had the door open, but
he was a trooper. What a great cat.
Oh, Jiggy's my little lamb.
So, High Vibe humans, until next time, stay healthy, stay light, and don't give up the fight. Breezy, out.